in this case, Christian wanted to be a part of it. He was happy to be a part of it. So we're also happy both of you have joined. So we want to see where these people are, what they have done. So all of them have spent roughly about 8 weeks with us. They've done some online 2-week boot camp and spent 6 weeks. And just to give you the context, the team of people who will be onboarded will be divided into 3 categories from now on. So phase 2, some of them will be getting into full stack web developer role. So they'll be further trained on ASP.NET, Web API, EF, etc. So that's one role. And some of them will be getting into SharePoint dev role. So, and then some of them will be going into test automation role with Selenium. So what we have done working with Christian, so this program is structured in a way that all of them have the base skill in the phase 1 of training before they come to the interview. At the base skill, we expect them to know database SQL well. We expect them to know MS SQL Server. They should have done some dabbling with that. They should know C# pretty well. Surely they should know OO well. They should know how to do an LLD interpret, how to interpret UML diagrams, perhaps use star UML, design this, look at water abstractions, contracting interfaces, some using factory, logging, etc. They should know collections well. And then they would also have done some work with Azure DevOps and some basics of DevOps using Git and ADO.NET. So this would constitute the chunk of what they have to know. From here, post the technical interview, they'll be branching into those 3 categories. So that's the whole goal. So today they're all going to present the project they have worked on. They'll perhaps explain more. So it's better to hear from them. But just to set the context, we expect all of them to have done the entire project on their own as an individual thing. This might have some 20, 28, 30 classes, whatever, depending on the design. They should have done this on his own. And that means they all prepare their own code base. After which, we also would have given each person specific use cases, scenarios that they have to write on their own. So there'll be a common code base for all of them because they have to create a critical mass, right? At least 600, 700, 800 lines of code, and then start writing features on top of it. So that is what we can expect from them. So perhaps they will share more of what they've done, and they're all pretty excited. And
Vinod, you are speaking on mute.
Yeah, thanks for setting up the context, Subbu. Am I audible now?
Yes, Vinod.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think Subbu's screen is stuck, has got stuck, it seems.
Vinod, you want to wait or can we
Yeah,
get started?
Yeah, we can get
start?
started. Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Sorry, Vinod, I'm back. I just dropped out, but more or less sorry. It's the same. So you can set the context from here. And as they present, you can ask as many questions. I'll leave it to you guys.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, we can get started. Yeah.
Okay, team, you all can start.
Good afternoon, sir. I'll be sharing my screen right now.
Yeah, I can see.
Cool. So good afternoon to everybody here, and this is a project we've been working on for the past 8 weeks, and I've been working on it with my team, which includes Sakshi, Shilpa, and Vinay. And this is our journey, I mean, the agenda for today, where we're going to be talking about the journey we've had with Pratyan, the learning landscape, and I'll be introducing the introduction to the project and the requirements we've been worked on, that we've had in the project, and the functional workflow, key tech highlights, architecture and design, the structure of the code, and the kind of code practices we've used, etc. So our journey with Pratyan has been incredible. To get into Pratyan, we had to go through rounds of assessment, and we've been through weeks of the boot camp where we've learned a number of programming foundations. And after going through 2 weeks of boot camp, we were assessed on how we've been assessed on our growth curve. And after that, we had to go through an HR interview with Pratyan. And additionally, we had to go through an interview with EY. And then we went through 6 weeks of training, and we worked on a project in the additional 2 weeks. And so this has been our learning landscape, where we worked on algorithm development and object-oriented programming. We also learned a lot about SQL and databases, and we really worked on sharpening our foundations with C# programming, and we learned design principles, design patterns, and the basics on ADO.NET and DevOps, etc. Coming to the introduction of the project, it's called Bank of Success, where it's essentially a bank app which works on the most common features that every bank has, which I will be explaining here. So these are some of the features that every bank would have, like opening, closing your account, and the kind of transfers you'll be performing, all the transactions that you'll be going through with your own bank account. And next, I would like to pass it on to Sakshi.
Thank you, Shreya. Good afternoon, everyone. So as Shreya explained that we are implementing basic features which every bank has. So when we start with opening account. So before opening account, we are creating a class that's going to have all these attributes, which an account should have, like account number, PIN number, name, balance, privilege, and its activation date, or if we are closing, then closing date. And in account, we are having 2 types of account, that is savings account and current account. For both of them, we have different attributes. We can move to the next slide. So yeah, as I said that we are going to have 2 types of accounts. So both of these accounts going to have different parameters to judge that whether the account could be opened or not. For savings account, we are judging that whether the age limit is 18. If it's under 18, then account could not be opened. And for that, we are throwing in custom exception. And then for this current, we are checking the registration number is null or not. Same after that, again, we will throw the custom exception. And if the conditions are followed, we will open the account. Yeah, when moving to the next, the close account. For close account, we will be asking account number from the user. And after that, if that account exists, then we will set its status is active to false. Earlier it was true that it was open. Then we have withdraw and deposit function. In withdraw function, we have to check that whether there is a sufficient balance available or not. Then only we can withdraw the amount from that particular account. And if not, then again we are throwing a lot of custom exceptions. We are throwing like there is no sufficient balance, and that if that account is not active, then we can throw the exception that account is not active. And for deposit, we are not checking that the account have the sufficient balance or not. We will be just taking the account number and will deposit the money to that account. Then next we have transfer operation. In transfer operation, we will be taking 2 accounts data from account to account, from account which we want to do the withdraw operation to account in which we want to do the deposit operation. And then the amount which we want to do. And then we have modes of transfer, that is NEFT, IMPS, and RTGS. And for security reasons, we are asking the pins. And these are the rules which we implemented for our transfer operation. Like you can see, as I mentioned earlier, in account, while opening account, we are having attribute, privilege type. So it is like privilege type we have created in as like a enum class. So there, if it's a premium privilege type, it can transfer up to 1 lakh in a day. For gold, it can transfer up to 50,000 in a day. And for silver, it's 25,000 in a day. And we will be checking all these rules. And if not, then again, we will be throwing the custom exceptions. Yeah, then moving next. This is our project dashboard. So this is like this data is basically from, we have 3 teams. So combined data it is. So like most of, as Shubha said, that we have common features and then we have extra distinct features. So we have included the distinct features and common features, then we got this result. So number of lines of codes we have is 4,000 and number of classes to the approx it is 42. Approx features 10, approx entity classes 10, and approx exceptions classes we have 10, and number of interfaces are 2. Moving to the next. Then it's the functional workflow. As I said, to open account, we are having account form. It is our boundary class. It's going to interact with the user. So we can say it's also a UI layer. We can mention, keep this class in a UI layer. It's going to ask the user whether it wants to open account, a savings account or current account. For that, we are having another business logic, which is we have created 2 classes, savings implementation and current implementation. And then we call them in factory. We are using this factory design principle so that we can create object and we can hide the logic of creation. Then we account manager calls the factory, and then account manager, we are creating the account. And by this, we are also getting the runtime polymorphism. And after the account is created, we are logging it to the account repository so that whatever account we have created, it could be stored, and to perform the further operations for like close the account, withdraw or deposit, we can go to the account repository and call that particular account. Then for second, we have close account, same process will be going. In account form, user will update input that it want to close the data. And then account form is going to check in account repository that the account number which user has entered is already there or not. If not, then it's going to throw the exception that account is not found and account is not there. And if it's okay, then it's going to go to the account manager. Account manager will perform the function and it will be updated in our account repository. Then we will have our next operations, deposit and withdraw. It's the same as we did for closing. We will go to our boundary class, then we will go call our object from account repository. Then we go to our control class, which is account manager, and then we go to update in account repository. But we know that logic for withdraw and deposit is different. In withdraw, we are subtracting the amount balance from the amount. And in deposit, we are adding the amount to the balance. Then comes the transfer funds. But here also till account manager, the process is same. But here we have to check the transfer limit manager. We have 2 classes, transfer limit manager and transfer log. So what transfer limit manager is going to do, it's going to check whether the particular account has exceeded the transfer limit. So like as I said earlier, we have created enum for these 3 types, which is premium, gold and silver. And we are going to check if this is exceeded, then we'll throw the exception, otherwise not. And we're using transfer log that for 1 day, if a account is doing many transfers, so we're going to log. If I did the first transfer, I logged it. If I'm coming again, and if I have a silver premium type, and this time I want to transfer 10,000, earlier I transferred 15,000, then it's going to show that it's your transfer limit has exceeded, because I will add what amount I want to transfer right now and what I have transferred earlier. So it's going to 25,000. So it will throw the exception. And then again, we have for debit card, the same process will go on till account manager. And till here, we will be having debit card status, which is going to status like we are having 3 particular classes in this, particular methods we can say, which is like to create an debit card, or to cancel the debit card, or to change the PIN of the debit card. Moving to the next. Okay, yeah. Now I like to invite Shilpa to continue.
Thank you, Sakshi. So there is a key highlights. Coming to programming in C#. First, we learned the basic of C#, like if else loop and while loop and function, how to create methods, the naming convention and interfaces, and all these concepts we learn in programming in C#. Then when we have to do our project, so we learned that how to layer that application, like we have to separate UI, then business logic, then we have to separate a folder for database. So we learned that how to layer that application. Then we learned that interface. Why we using interface in our project? That interface is a contract that followed by every class that is going to inherit that interface. So it's kind of contract. Now coming to solid principle. So there is a lots of design principle in between all those principle. Among of we selected only 5, which named as solid. Solid is every word of solid have its own meaning. Like as for single responsibility principle, and O for open close principle, L for list scope principle, and I for interface segregation, and D for dependency inversion principle. So we learn all about these principle, and there is design pattern. We learn that how we have to follow all these pattern to follow in our project. Then we created a factory bridge. Factory bridge is nothing like it's a factory factory design method. It's a factory design principle is defined like we have to create a new object. So we using that principle in our account factory implementation. And coming to exception, as we know that there are 2 kind of exception: custom exception and built-in exception. So exception are those like if we don't follow any kind of rule, it throw an exception, that are built-in exception. And if we have to throw our own exception, so we have to create custom exception implemented by inheriting application exception. And coming to unit testable implementation, we created this project like unit testable format. We created small methods so that we can do the unit test on that methods. And we used here that TDD TDD stand for test driven development. That is a methodology. We used here fine coverage. Can I take a sip of water, please?
Sure.
Okay. So we here we used TDD methodology, and we implemented by automated testing. We done the testing part, and after that we are implemented that SRP is a kind of principle which I explained earlier, that single responsibility principle. Every class has to follow this single responsibility principle. In our project, account manager is following this principle. Account manager has to validate only that what user has input, that is valid input or not. After that, he will give the permission that you can perform that operation successfully. And coming to users of collection, we used in our project, we used list and dictionary for storing the data. To list format and dictionary format, and Git repository. In Git repository, we push our data, our project on Git, and we can pull it from Git so that we can change our project. Okay, Shreya, can we go next? So in architecture and design, we created first a UML diagram, and I followed that UML diagram till the implementation of our code. In this diagram, first we created all entity classes like saving account and current account and all this. So first we implemented interface. Then after that, we following that contract, and we implemented that saving account and current account. Then after that, we implemented that account form. It's kind of user interaction. It provides kind of user interaction where we are taking inputs from user and displaying the output to user by using account form. And there is account manager factory, which is we created for like what kind of user want to create account. Like if we want to create a saving account, then he will create like it creates a saving account instance. Otherwise, if it wants to create a current account instance, then it will create current account instance. And here we created one transfer log entity class and account privilege manager, and all these tasks, like all these operations are handled by account manager. So everything is validated by account manager that it operation will going to perform or not. And account manager is also throwing exception if user input some user inserted wrong input, so it will throw some exception like invalid age exception we given in saving account when we have to open saving account. So we take input here that age exception it will throw, and account has already open, account already closed, kind of these exception we are going to throw. These are custom exceptions that we created. Okay, so now I would like to call Vinay. Vinay?
Yeah, thank you, Shilpa. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, we created our code in a layered wise. We have created 3 layers. That is, one is UI. It is called as user interface. In user interface, we have updated like customer details, and second one is entity. Here the customer detail we are divided into classes like account, current class, account class, debit card, transaction classes, different classes. In business class, we have implemented logic that is for account manager, for account form and program. This is the view of user interface layer. Here we have two classes, that is account form and program class, where we given details of the user. That user, we have given the details of the user. This is the entity class. We have different classes of the user. That is account, the account, which account you want, savings or current account, that the details, the privilege, that is enum privilege, the premium, gold, that is, and savings, simple, and transfer. We have created different classes in entities. This is for a business class. This manager, here we have the account manager, account log, and every exceptions that is given created in a different folder is business. Here we given the exceptions. Throw the exceptions where it is not valid, it is not, it is when it can false. Then the pin every that is for transfer, that is for withdraw, that is for deposit, and for everything here we stored in a business folder. This is we design principles, and we have 2 design principles. One is the single repository principle. Single responsibility principle is basically should have only one reason to change. Here we used the single repository principle for the account manager to validate the details that is given by the customer, to verify and valid that is true or false. That is for a withdraw, that is for checking pin or checking balance, checking for deposit, checking the amount that we deposited, checking the account number. These all will come under the single repository principle. Yeah, this is for the OCP, that is open close principle. In here we have given here in OCP principle states that entities such as modules, classes, and functions should open for extension, but not for the modification. Here we can add n number of functions, but should not modify, because if we modify the functions, that will be collapsed. That will be get the error for total program is given to the program logic. So you get the extension, but not the modification. Yeah, this is the OOPS content. We have a few OOPS concepts that we use, but we are using here is inheritance. In inheritance, we have inheritance from the savings, from the account to savings. Here we use it to savings and current. Savings is a child class, and account is a parent class. From here we have inheritance from the account, taking the details of savings, taking the details of current, to inherit as the details of the company name in current, website and registration name in current, and the different in savings we have given the date of birth, gender, phone number, these all details. Next, I'm transferring to Shreya.
I think Shreya is
Shreya,
talking.
you're
now.
Shreya, you're in mute.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, really sorry. So here we have the collections implementation, and we have used dictionary and the list. So in the first one where we've used the dictionary, it has it stores a collection of key values. And so as Shilpa explained to us previously, we have things like premium, gold, and silver, and each enum has a value. Like premium has 1, gold has 2, and silver has 3. And as the customer wants to create their account, their features will be according to which feature they selected. And coming to lists, list also stores a collection of objects and data types like strings and int values, etc. Next, we have custom exceptions, where we have inherited the application exception here. And apart from this, we also have system exceptions as well. Next, I would like to call up on Sakshi.
Yeah, thank you, Shreya. Okay, now we have design pattern and factory. So this is like we have a lot of principles. One, we have solid design principle. Other, we have factory design principle. So in factory design principle, what we do, we make a factory. So what's the logic behind factory is we are creating the object, but we are hiding the logic of creation. Like here you can see in my second picture, you can see I have created my savings account. I have created my current account, but I don't know what's the logic behind it. What are the rules I'm checking for that? And for that, I have created an interface account implementation so that it's fixing a contract that whichever method and class is inherited by my this interference should have the open method. So I have inherited this account implementation interface to my savings implementation and current implementation class. There I have open method, and in that I have given the logic that whether what the condition should be satisfied. And from there I'm calling it to factory. So the logic behind factory is fulfilled here. Moving to the next slide. It is unit testable code. So I think unit testable code is like we are creating small methods so that it's easy to test them. So like for if we are checking that if account is active. So if we want to open an account, so before that we want to check that is that account is already active or not. So if it's already active, then there is no need of opening that account. And second is if age is valid. We are checking, you can see I have given the logic here, datetime.now.year, the year which today is minus the year which my date of birth was. And if it's less than 18, then it's going to throw the exception, invalid age. That age is less than 18 and account cannot be formed. So if we make small methods, it's easy for us to do the unit test. Moving to the next. For this, I would like to invite Shilpa to continue.
Okay, so this is our additional functionality. We did it in team. This is created a difference between other teams. So we implemented apply for debit card. In this section, like user can apply for debit card by passing account number. If user wanted to apply debit card after opening account, then he can apply easily. Otherwise, he can apply later. So here we have just checking for like a user account is active or not. And then we are checking for a user has a user account has already debit card or not. If user has already debit card, then we have throwing that exception that user has already debit card. Otherwise, we are checking that user is already applied for debit card or not. If he is requested for debit card, then it will throw an exception that debit card is already requested for this account. And if user is not requested and he don't have a debit card, then it will goes to else part, and it will create a instance of debit card status request, and it will return and it will execute it successfully, and the control goes to account form. So it's a debit card workflow for apply method. We can go next. And after applying, if user want to change PIN, so we got like in every bank, we got one PIN number with a debit card. So by using this concept, we created that set PIN number. In this, we are checking for that what is the status of user that he requested for debit card. If requested for debit card is status requested, then it will go to next, checking for that account card we given to user that is not expired, and after that it checking that the PIN number of that debit card. The debit card PIN number entered by user is equals to like PIN number of debit card PIN number. If it is equal, then it returns true and get to the next function, that is change PIN. Here we are changing PIN. Here I implemented like if user are coming for first time for changing PIN, so it will only change the PIN. The data not going to be updated. But if user is coming for first time, so the if part is going to execute, like if debit card status dot status is equals to requested, if it coming for first time, so it will update that status of debit card, that it's completed, request is completed. Then it will do that debit card is activated now, and after that it will update that debit card is active. In debit card we created one field which name is active. When user first time changes the PIN, that field going to be updated. Okay, that's all. Going to next. Yeah. So in cancel debit card, if user don't want debit card service, so we can simply providing the service that he can cancel the debit card. So here we are checking for if account is active. First, we have to check that account of the user. He wanted to cancel the debit card. Its account is active or not. Then we are checking that the PIN number user entered is valid or not valid. Then after we are checking that user is applied for debit card. If user is applied for debit card, then we like user is applied for debit card, then we are changing the status of debit card status as cancel, that it is stored that cancel debit card. And if a user is already applied for debit card, so I'm just here I'm validating as negative kind of, it will return false, and after that sorry, it will return true. And I'm here throw that exception that debit card is not issued for this account. And next we are just going to update account or debit card status dot status equal to cancel, and account object is card active we as false, so that if card is now card is inactive state. Okay, that's all. Go next. In best practices during the implementation of project, we are always like do we always did like comments, so that we remember what we are doing in a proper manner, and we always given name like account manager. So proper naming convention we are giving, like open account, for opening account we given a name of open account. So we are following all these for like we so that anyone can explain our code. So it's best practices for us. Yeah, that's all. Go next. So from here I would like to call Shreya.
So from here, we'll be going through the code walkthrough. Shilpa, will you be sharing your screen? Shilpa?
Sakshi, it's visible to you? I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, Shilpa, it's visible. Yeah. You can start.
Shreya, you can go on.
Yeah. So here I'll be explaining the account class. We have elements like the debit card and the account number, name, PIN number, balance, and the privilege that we just spoke
Shreya?
about earlier. Yes.
Shreya, sorry, this is Karthik. Yeah, sorry for interrupting. So, like, have you developed your code in .NET Core or .NET Framework, Shreya?
Framework, sir. Framework.
Framework. Okay, it's a .NET web page, a tracer page, right? Not an MVC.
No, sir.
Okay, Shreya, I just wanted to understand that. Please continue. Yeah.
So we have the account class where we have all these elements. Could you please go to savings and current? Yeah, so this is the child class where we have inherited all the properties of the account class, and we have elements like the user's date of birth, their gender, and their phone number. The same goes for current account as well. Could you please open that? Yeah, the current account inherits the properties of the parent class account, the account class as well, and we have similar elements like the name of the company, their website, and the registration number. And now, could you please go to account manager? Okay. Okay. The account manager. Okay, cool. Yeah. So here we have the function of opening the account, and to do this, we have created an account implementation factory. Could you go to the account implementation factory? So it goes to the account implementation factory, checks the code there, and then comes up with the solution whether the account has been opened or not. So in the account implementation factory, we again have classes like savings implementation and current implementation. So we've used this factory principle because let's say we need to create another account, let's say a loan account or another different type of account. You can just add the code here instead of changing your entire main code. So yeah, in account implementation for the savings account, it checks whether the account is active first, because if the account is already created in your name, then you don't have to create the account again. And later it checks whether your age is valid. It checks whether you're 18 years of age or not. And if you are, it takes you to the next step. If not, it throws an exception saying, I'm sorry, you're not 18 years old and please try again later. So if you're 18 years of age, then it creates an account and it adds your account to the account repository class. And then it returns saying the account has been opened, and it changes the Boolean value from false to true. The same goes for current account as well. So we've created a similar class saying current implementation, where it implements the current account. Yes, so in current implementation, it's the same. The Boolean value is set to false first because the account hasn't been created yet. And it checks whether the account has been active already. And if it's not, it goes to the next process where it checks whether your registration number is null. And if it's not, it says, okay, your account has been created, and it adds your account to the repository. And if your account registration is not null, or if your account number is already active, it throws the specific exceptions related to that. And yeah, this is the entire process of opening your account. It can be either current account or your savings account. I would like to hand it over to Vinay.
Yeah, thank you, Shreya. Now I'm going to explain about the close account. Yeah, here this is the function for the close account that we created. That we have when we have to close account, we have to check that account is already closed or is inactive right now. If it is active, then it will be closed, or if we are already closed, then it will be through the exception the account already closed. Yeah, account that then that will be thrown exception. Then we if the account is already closed, then it will throw the exception. If the account is active, then we will close the account. Then it will be returned to the account is closed. Then let's come to the withdraw. Here we created the function for withdraw, where for withdraw we require that account should be active and the PIN number should be valid, and for withdraw the amount should be sufficient for transfer the funds from one account to for the account from the account. So we have checking the account is active or not, the PIN number is valid or not, the sufficient balance is there or not. If these three functions are not in true, then it will throw the exception that account is not active, the PIN is not valid, and the sufficient balance is not there for to withdraw. If that is true, it will be turned into account balance is withdrawn. So much amount of is withdrawn. Amount the funds is in withdrawn. Let's go to the deposit. Here we are checking that is account the two account account is the deposit account is active or not. We are checking the only one thing, that account is active or not. If the account is active, then the deposit will be done, or the account is not active, then it will throw the exception account is not active, and it will return the account return the updated balance, account balance after the deposit. That's it. I'm transferring to Sakshi.
Yeah, thank you, Vinay. Okay, so let me explain about the transfer operation. For that, we have created an entity class, which is transfer. Can you go to that? So for performing this transfer operation, we need to have these variables, which are from account to account, in which we want to deposit the amount which user is going to input, the PIN number for safety, that we need to take the PIN number of from account, which is going to withdraw the amount. Then we have created enum for transfer mode, which is none, or you want to go for IMPS or NEFT or RTGS. After that, we have two methods, which is we can go to the class transfer limit manager and transfer log. Shilpa. Yeah, so you can see, as Shreya said earlier, we are storing key values here in dictionary for our privilege to check that what privilege type it is. Like here we have our key, which is premium dot privilege dot premium, and value we have 1 lakh, and for gold we have 50,000, for silver we have 25,000. We are going to check this, and when we are going to call, we have created this method get transfer limit, which we are going to call in our account manager in our control class. And after that we have one more class, which is transfer log. In transfer log, as I showed earlier, we have created a transfer entity class. So we are going to store all the transfers which are happen in this. So what we are going to do, as I said, that we need to check whether the limit has been exceeded or not. To check that limit, we have to store our transfers. For that, we have created this class. And like you can see, line number 26, we have if transfer dot from account dot account number is equals to our account number which I have entered. Like this one is already stored, and this which the user have entered, then it's going to add it to the transfer list. Then we can go to account manager where we have our main logic. Yeah, so in account manager, first we are going to check, as I explained, we have having two attributes, from account and to accounts. We are going to check whether these two accounts are active or not. If not, then it's going to throw the exception. If yes, it will go further. Then we will check that if the PIN number is valid, and we are going to check the PIN number of the from account only, not for the to account. Yeah. After PIN number, we are going to check is sufficient balances available. If I want to transfer some 50,000 and my from account don't have 50,000, and to throw the exception that it don't have the sufficient balance. And if it has the sufficient balance, we go again inside it. And here you can see we are creating this object daily transfer limit. It's we have created daily transfer limit as explained earlier. We have created that method in transfer limit and we are calling it here. And if this is created, I think we have it in downwards. Shilpa, can you go to get transfer limit? Okay, no, leave it. Check if transfer limit is exceeded. Go to this, we have it in account manager. Check if transfer limit exceeded method. Yeah. So after, when we have entered the amount we want to transfer, then we will come to this method that check if transfer limit is exceeded. In this method, you can see that we are storing our transfers in transfer, and we are calling it from get transfer from log. And I have already created variable which is amount transferred 0, and we will check whenever a transfer is happening, we are going to add that how much transfer this particular account has done. So earlier we are set up at initially we have made it 0, initialized to 0. Then if any transfer is going to happen, we are going to add in this. And if like every time a transfer is going to happen, it's going to add it. Then we are going to check that its limit is exceeded or not. For that, we are going to check how much amount is already transferred, and the amount which user want to transfer now, sum of it will be checked to the daily limit transfer, which we have given in our privilege. Okay, we can get back to our transfer. Yes, after checking if it's done, then we will perform the withdraw funds function and deposit funds function, which we have already performed while doing the single operation withdraw and single operation deposit. And when it is done, we will add it to the log of transfer. And this is how our transfer operation is performed. Now I want Shilpa to explain further.
So let me just intervene for a minute. I'm just conscious of time. Vinod and Karthik, would you want to have any specific Q&A with them? Because these guys have written some 4K lines of code. They might keep going on and on. Do you have any specific thing you want to talk about? Please.
Can we see the application up and running, or is it possible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Shilpa, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Like if we have to open account, we can click which account type we want to open. So I'm taking like a screen here. If we want to open saving account, so we have to first enter our name, like then PIN number something 1, 2, 3, date of birth. If I enter date of birth less than 18, my age is less than 18, it will throw an error. First, I will show the error, like 2009. This one. Here it shows exception that age is less than 18. So account can't open. So now if I again want to open account, it will be savings. Name is Shilpa. Number 1, 2, 3. Now I'm into age that validates the rule. Okay. So it display that account opened successfully. The account type is savings, account number is 101, and account holder name is Shilpa, and all these things it will display. Now it asking for that I wanted to apply for debit card or not. If I wanted to apply for debit card, I can press yes here. Otherwise, I can press no. So I'm like apply for debit card. Now it's wanting. Sorry, it's 1001. Here, applied for debit card successfully, and it shows a pin, so that after applying, I can change pin for the debit card. So next is like I have to now you can tell me that what operation I have to perform. You can ask any of these.
Okay. Can we transfer money?
Yes, but first we have to deposit money in account because the account is open at zero balance. Here it's zero. So first we have to deposit.
Okay.
So
Can you
Where is
deposit
system
money, earn
calculation?
money and transfer it
yes,
to my account?
yes. Here I'm depositing money 101, and amount which you want to deposit like 10,000. Here it's showing that 10,000 deposited in the account 101. Total balance is 10,000. Now, if you want to withdraw money from account, so you have to press 3, account number 101. And
Okay.
during the deposit, we didn't ask that PIN number. And but during withdrawal, we are asking for PIN number. And now I'm asking for deposit only 5,000. So
We
it's showing
created
like
PIN number 1257, right?
no, that is for a debit card.
Okay.
And this
Okay.
is account PIN number.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Shilpa, you're
5,000.
logging all the transactions here?
Sorry.
Are you logging all the transactions?
No, I'm not logging the transaction. I'm working on it.
Okay, so you can also transfer from one account to other account.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we can.
Sorry.
For that, we have to open at least 2 accounts so that I can transfer from one account to another account. For that, we have to first open another account. So now you tell me which kind of account you want to open. Savings or current?
Yeah, we can open a savings account only. No problem. So it takes phone number even if we are giving 5 digits.
Where?
So phone number usually it is 10 digits, right?
Yeah, but here I didn't validate for phone number.
We
Okay.
haven't applied any condition for it, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So if I'm showing like if I don't want a debit card for this account, so I press no. So it come back to that select operation. Now I'm going to perform the transfer 5. So on my 1001 account has 5,000 rupees. Now, so account number is 1002, which I want to transfer. The amount only 5,000 in my account. That's why I entered 5,000.
So if
Here
we
it's
enter more than
printed.
5,000, will it give any error
Yes, sir.
message? Okay.
If the account holder is a privilege of type silver, so it will throw an exception that if I want to transfer more than 25,000, it will throw an exception that your daily transfer limit is exceeded. It will throw exception.
Also, so it's going to check whether the account has sufficient balance or not.
Okay. Can we check it again? Can we transfer again?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, sir, we can. First, I have to deposit money. Like,
No,
No,
no.
no, you can transfer it
You
from
can
1002
try transferring from
account.
10.
but there is no balance. It's
Yeah,
show
yeah.
that
Are
insufficient
you
balance.
transfer?
Okay.
Let it
Okay.
be. Let it be. Yeah.
Okay.
Two. Shilpa, put it to. Oh,
Yeah, we can transfer. Yeah. Now we
So
can put.
I will show that again here. What
Yeah, you can put. Yeah, correct. Now can we type 10,000?
Yes, sir, but it's one exception that insufficient balance because my account has zero balance. That's why.
So, okay. Do we have any functionality to check the account holder details for 1001? Can we?
So we can implement that, but we didn't implement in this project. If we want, we can implement that. There is nothing that much to work because all things
Okay.
are implemented. We have to just call all the methods.
Okay. Suppose we have three types of account. Gold, silver, and platinum, right? If you have to add one more account type, how do you
Yes,
do?
sir. So we have to just simply go in privilege. In privilege, first we have to add here, and after that we have to we have to modify in limit manager.
Why in two different places?
The transfer limit. So that privilege is for we created a class for a separate class for storing that, and that limit manager is doing only one task, that it will checking that daily limit, what like a user how much transfer money in a day. So we are assigning that task to limit manager to performing like a single responsibility to that follow that principle. That's why we created like this.
So you asked to create a account type, or we need to add any condition for privilege?
No, we have three account types, right? If I'm
Yeah.
not wrong.
So two
We have
account
two
type.
account types: savings
Oh,
type and
okay.
current type.
So what is that gold, premium, silver?
So
that
it's
is
privilege type.
Privilege. Okay. Yeah, if I
it's
want to add a
account.
privilege, new privilege.
Then
Okay.
So we can add simply here that transfer limit dot add privilege and the privilege name. First, we have to define that privilege name and that in the class, and then we have to add it here. It's simple. We don't have to do that much.
Okay. Karthik, do you have any questions?
Yes, we don't.
Yeah.
So can we check one more functionality, team? Like I just want to perform this change pin functionality.
Yes, sir.
So what is the current pin you're holding? So change pin is for the debit card or for the account, Shilpa?
So wait a minute. I have to check that what is the pin. Wait, light for. The pin is here. It's 1257. Okay.
1 to 5, right? Okay.
Now, if I want to change pin, so simply I have to press 7. Starting for now, here I'm changing like using account number. Now it's asking for debit card pin. It's 1257. here, if I enter wrong pin, it will throw an exception. Can I show that?
No, please enter the right pin. Okay.
Now again,
And
if
enter
user,
the same pin as new pin 1257.
okay. 1257. It's confirming the pin. 1257. Pin change successfully.
Okay, it is allowing to even set the same pin as new pin. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's okay. So on regarding this, you've set one functionality for the transaction limit, right? So what is the maximum transaction limit you are maintaining in the code team? Per day transaction limit,
So that's 1 lakh.
1 lakh. So, so can you help me like adding an amount greater than 1 lakh? First deposit an amount greater than 1 lakh and try sending an amount which is greater than 1 lakh with either withdrawing or transferring the amount. Just deposit 2 lakhs or something. Yeah.
So we can't perform that transfer operation because we have not put that limit. Our maximum limit is 1 lakh. We can transfer up to 1 lakh. After that, we can't transfer. We haven't implied anything for that.
And so first, during the opening account,
Okay.
user has to choose that which kind of privilege he want. So for this account, I taken it as silver. So this account, like account 101, only transfer 25,000 rupees in a 1 day.
Okay. No, I'm just trying to understand if the system is able to capture that limit. You're saying 25,000 is the maximum limit. Whatever
sir.
the limit this account is capable of.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Got
Okay,
it.
sir. So I'm transferring.
Okay. Yeah.
Daily transfer limit exceeded because it's transfer only 25,000. If
Okay.
I try again,
Okay.
it will transfer successfully.
Understood. Understood. Tim. This is okay. Okay. Close account, transfer money, apply debit card. Okay. So what if you're trying to open an account with the same account which is already existing? For example, 1001 is account is already existing, right?
It will throw an exception. I will show
Okay.
you like. Sir, but here the account number is not like user can't enter the account number. It's
Oh, sorry.
it's auto incremented order.
Auto incremented. Got it.
Yes,
Just
sir.
want to understand that, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm also good, Karthik.
Okay, team. So first, congratulations to all of you, like for doing this good job. It have taken a lot of effort from you guys, so I appreciate that. All 4 in the team.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you have
Thank you, sir.
done a great job. Yeah.
So can I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
So how much time it took for you to develop this entire thing?
So
Am I
it
aud-
will took, yes, sir. It will took only I think maximum 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay. So, okay, fine.
Got it, team. So just from this project perspective, right? I'm very happy and even I'm very impressed with the way you have implemented the design patterns and everything. But whenever you come to this banking, portal, right? The more important thing is the use cases, because I could say a number of use cases and I'll have to check. The reason why myself and Mr. Vinod, we have asked so many questions while you're running the public code is that we need to know, we need to understand if you have covered all the use cases. So that is what at the end of the day matters, right? It shouldn't,
Yes.
just for example, I'm not telling you. So a use cases is something like we'll come to know only when we have a practice, or, when we deeply think about what could be the all possible scenarios. So as a developer, the key point for us is to make sure like design pattern is definitely a must and important thing for everyone. The how way we code, the comment and everything have done excellently, and I really appreciate that. Along with the use case is also something we offer. I think you have pretty much covered the use cases. There are something you have missed also. No, this is like a constructive feedback I'm giving to you. So next time when you are about to develop something, like you also have to keep in mind, right? Along with this design patterns and everything, also keep in mind like whether you're covering every use cases. Consider yourself as a customer. Say like, okay, I'm performing this kind of action. What should the system do? These kind of things. So just take it as a constructive feedback, nothing on a back end side. Okay, since you are like new and you are all giving so much effort into this application, right? So I am really like myself and we are really impressed with the way you have done your project team. Yeah, so thank you and congratulations for that. Vinod, do you have anything to
Thank
add?
you, sir.
And I think Karthik, you have covered everything pretty much.
Okay, team, we have noted down the
Yeah.
points. Like this is a project demo, like I think you'll have an interview session next to this. So in the interview sessions, we'll have more technically question and answers. So since it's a project sessions, we have noted down all the the things and stuff you have done from a project perspective. Okay.
Thank you, Karthikeyan and Vinod, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Nita?
you. Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
team.
Thank you, team.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
everyone.
day.
Thank you,
Yes.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
ma'am.
sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Guys, is there anyone left?
Shall we meet in our group?
Yeah, let's go to work.
Yeah, bye.